are going to Yahoo Finance is on the website we're going to be on today. We're going to be looking at different pieces. Find quote lookup. That's where you will type in different symbols to find out information from that stock. Over here, where my cursor is, you will see different news articles that are running that time. Finance Home is what I just clicked on. To go back, and you'll see the S&P 500, which is tracking more small company stocks. Dow 30 is looking at some of the big industry, that blue chip stocks like that AT&T he was talking about yesterday. NASDAQ is looking for your pharmaceuticals. This is the one that's traded out of Chicago. It has pharmaceuticals, technology companies, more in that industry. And so they each track different things. And so sometimes you'll see one up and one down. When it has a green number underneath it, like the Dow is currently up $90.48. It is currently trading at $26,152.60. So that lets you know what it's currently trading at, what I just highlighted in blue. That number will constantly change. One of the things you will have to do tonight is get me the trading price or the trading value. That means there are going to be multiple answers that are correct. There's a range that value is going to trade at throughout the day. And so your answer may not match Sally's answer. So let's look up a quote. And so we're going to look up BAC. And that's Bank of America. So type into the quote lookup BAC. And it's going to pull up a chart. This is a current one-day chart. It tells me Bank of America is trading at $30.34. So to buy one share, I need $30.34. To buy 10 shares, I need $303.40. And so forth. What's nice about this is I can see the name of the company, what its ticker symbol is, what it's currently trading at, and if you look down here in the red, you will see the current volume, where it says 104.83K. That is a volume that's trading right now. So as I move my cursor over that chart, it's an interactive chart, and it's going to show me the range that it's at. So right now, it looks like it's getting pretty close to the high. It just reached the high at 11 o'clock. At 11:02, we are just off the high. But one day doesn't tell me a whole lot. I could look at 1 year. And this tells me how the stock's been trading for this past year. So we're down a little bit from where the high has been for the year, but it looks like we kind of came back up and are going back down a little bit. This is a daily trading volume. Before was at that moment, the trading volume. Here is the daily trading volume. And that's what those little bars at the bottom represent. You click on it, you get more information, and this is pulling up. Now, I'm looking at a longer time frame. You see how now we have 2012 showing up. What do you think the D's stand for? What word does it say whenever I hover over it? So, the last time it paid a dividend was in September, and I'm going to move my screen over and see if we can get it to where it shows more of that dividend, and it's not showing up. Let's see. So like here, I'm going to show you the 531. 531, it had a 12-cent dividend. And so that means if you own the stock, at that point, they give you 12 cents for every share you owned. So if you own 10 shares, that gave you $1.20. 100 shares is $12. 1,000 shares would be $120. So the more shares you have, the more you're getting per dividend per share. This chart, by zooming out, that blue line is the stock trading price. What have you noticed about Bank of America? What's its overall trend since 2012? Its overall trend is up. Is Bank of America a big thing? There are a lot of them. It's a big bank. That doesn't mean it's foolproof. There are several banks in the banking crisis that went under. But it is a relatively, probably not going to go away to zero. Someone's probably going to buy it out. So using this chart, we're able to see the trend of the stock. I can even do like this is a 5-year. This just shows me the last 5 years. I can do max. What do you think the max is going to do? Take you back as far as it can go. And that shows you the overall trend of this company. Has it been paying dividends since it started? No, it started paying dividends right about here. And as I move my cursor along this interactive chart, you'll see the bottom, that cursor moves and it tells me a date. So the farther out I zoom, the less details I can see, but I can see an overall trend. And if I cursor over, it does tell me information. And so that's not all the way. That just got me to 94. That arrow told me it went farther. So it looks like it was doing really good. And then something bad happened right about here. Do you know what bad happened right about here? That's when it looks like it went shoop. Does anybody know what happened in 2007? The market crash. So if you bought it, it was up here at $54. Is it trading at $54 right now? So you still haven't recovered your money. But is it still paying you a dividend? For a little while, that dividend went really low because before, if you look here, dividends were 64 cents a share. The dividends still aren't very high, but at least you're getting some dividends, so maybe you're recovering it more. And what do you notice about the dividend? You can read that far. Is that 5 cents in 2016? In 2017, it's 7,500 or 7 cents and a half, 7.5 cents. In 2018, we're up to 12 cents. So what's happening to that dividend? It's going up. So they're sharing more of their growth back with the investors that have stuck it out with them. Why did it go down? Okay, so they share back a portion of their profits. They still have to build the business. So the dividends are typically going to be somewhere around, on a stock this level. So if you have $30 per share, sharing 12 cents back, that's not a bad return. And we'll actually look at the return rate, because that's not your only place to get money. Okay, so I am going to go back from this. There's a back button up at the top. When somebody buy the share, they have it until they sell it. And so let's find out how that works. So going forward, the dividend yield is 60 cents. That is a dividend yield for the entire year. And so it's sharing about 2% back with you. They are still in the process of recovering, and that's part of the reason Bank of America has such a low dividend. They're trying to rebuild the bank, the image from the fall. Other stocks you'll find have higher dividends. Something nice to see is when you look up a stock over here, see where it says people also watch. This tells you similar stocks that people that are looking at this are also looking at. And so you can compare which of these does it look like it's the best for me to buy. So Citigroup is another bank. JP Morgan Chase is another financial. Wells Fargo, another financial. Ford Motor Company, is that a financial? Does it have financial implications? They do loans, right? Goldman Sachs is another financial. So those are all different ones to look at. There's a lot of data on each of these. So if I wanted to look back at historical data, this is off the summary page, I can go over to where it says historical data and click on that. And if I scroll down, this is giving me daily, but I could go to monthly and I could change it to max. And this is going to show me every month basically a report of what their stock traded at. And I forgot to show you all this at the top. I'm just scrolling, so that's the reason it's flashing so fast. The first one is the open. That means that's what it started the day at. This is the high of started that month at. This is the high of that month. This is the low. This is the close. This is the adjusted close whenever they take out things that didn't really close correctly or there's other issues. And then it's also going to tell you the dividends. So it's showing you every major event. So let's look and see, when did the stock start trading under BAC. Keep going back. So remember, this was the starting price. So if you bought it in 1980, you would have paid $1.40. You see how that worked? And so if you bought it back then, did you make some money off the stock? What would this stock be considered back in the 1980s? Would it be a big company stock, or would it probably be considered like a penny stock? It just opened. Its first focus was growth for the first part of it. And then it starts paying dividends when it starts getting big enough to be able to share out back to the shareholders. And so it's at $6, and they said, okay, we're going to start sharing out some dividends with y'all. So there's a lot of information that historical data can give you. This is also a great place to find out what the dividend was, or stock splits. When I was researching company of what a stock that someone owned, and I had to track back on it, I used Yahoo Finance to help me track back the history of that stock to see any time it split, any dividends it paid, what all they gained from that stock. So when I tracked its performance, they reported sometimes that information as well. So let's scroll back up. And so it told me the last dividend was paid at 15 cents, and it was paid, the date on it was the 6th of September. So if I need to find the most recent date, using that historical data, it's a lot quicker and easier to find it than off the chart. So there are multiple things that we can use to gather data off of this. We have the summary. The summary is just a overall picture. Here it tells me what it closed at the previous day, what it opened with, the bid and the ask, so that's what it's kind of trading at, what its day range has been. So if you know it's been a range of from 30.13 to 30.40, you might put in it for it to buy it lower if you think it might drop down that day. The 52-week range, so it's gone from $24.58 to $33.05. So we're getting close to that top part of that range. Again, another spot to show me the volume. It tells me a lot of other information right here, the earnings per share, the PE ratio, and we're not going to go into a lot of that, but that's some of the stock analyst information we're going to do is there. And accounting too, we go into this a little bit more of how to calculate these numbers. The earnings date, that's when they're going to report earnings. So if they report better earnings than expected, what do you think the stock is going to do? If they do like Netflix did, what's going to happen after that? So it's in other words, this is a volatile time period right here. Because based upon that report, and there's usually a lot of information that comes out around that earnings date, to where it will say ex-dividend date, that's the date you need to own the stock in order to receive the dividend off that stock. I'm not going to make y'all do anything with that information. I just wanted you to know what it was. The chart gives you a way of analyzing what's happening visually. And some of you like visual representations, and so some of you might like this representation better. Use the one that helps you the most to see what information you need to see.